Includas Publishing. Meet Luda and Melquea, creators of The Biggest Gift of All.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Charlotte. I've done work for Includas for over 2 years now. I'm wearing a black tank top and my hair is also down. I've been kind of in the loop with a lot of projects, and this is one that has been on my radar for a while. Before we get started on that, how about you introduce yourselves and kind of describe a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Luda. I am wearing a black turtleneck with my brown hair down, and I'm the author for The Biggest Gift of All, and I help run Includas Publishing, where we focus on disability representation in books, fiction books, and also supporting disabled authors and illustrators and staff as well.
My name is Melquea Smith. I am currently wearing a pink dress with pink glasses that are shaped like hearts and multicolored earrings that are shaped like lollipops and a beige head wrap. I am a children's book illustrator, and I'm an admin for Black Creators Headquarters, which is an organization that helps amplify Black creators and Black illustrators in the publishing industry.
So we can just get started and talk about the story itself.
So the title of the book is The Biggest Gift of All, which we will, it's right there, so you can see what it is. It's really about a main character, Tasha, who wants to give just the best, biggest gift of all to the best, biggest, awesomest friend that she has. But she's sort of really unsure because everyone else gives her even bigger gifts. So she has to figure out how she will try to give her friend the biggest gift of all. And she goes on this journey and self-discovery. And it's really beautiful and colorful, and we are so excited to share the message with you.
What was the initial inspiration behind the story?
I think the very original idea was how a lot of people are always trying to be better or bigger or do more than the other person, and they just don't ever feel good enough. And so I wanted for kids to know that gift giving, it's not really always about the material aspect of it. There's something bigger than just the thing that is given. Just this idea of how a lot of times you can look up to so many people, but yet because of that you feel so small, but then you also don't realize that someone else is looking up to you. And so to someone else, you're just amazing, and they feel probably that you're giving the biggest gift to someone. Self-reflection and just how you are in the world and how you see others and how you kind of are to others as well.
This is the first project that I've ever had where I designed a character with a disability. And I remember talking to colleagues and folks and you too, Luda, about, I don't know if I'm the person to do this project. Is this, I was feeling imposter syndrome. I was feeling like this isn't my story to tell. I was feeling like this isn't my character to design. But I was reassured time and time again that, Luda, you said, we have a team that will guide you through this process. And if anything looks weird, or if anything looks wrong, or if anything can be improved, that will guide you along the way. And I think for me, I had a fear of doing it wrong and offending someone. And I think that's always the toughest thing about working with characters or working with stories that are not of your own background. I did just so much research in the back end just to have an idea of what muscular dystrophy looks like, how it could feel like, and also asking folks too, just like asking Luda for her feedback and asking the team for their feedback as well, of just like, is this a right spin for the character? And is this a right way to depict her disability? So it was a lot of background research, and but then also taking the disability aside and figuring out who she is as a character and who she is as a person as well. Because that's always important of just like any person of any background and any intersectionality of like, people are people first. The extra bits, the fun things about skin color and hair and disabilities and all those sort of things, they're all, it's all encompassing. It's not just this person is this one thing.
How do you individually connect with Tasha's story, and what parts of yourself do you see in these characters and in this story in particular?
Having also been a kid in a wheelchair with muscular dystrophy, that was just really important for me to have in the illustrations, in the story, even though disability wasn't the drive for the story. That's also really important, just to see inclusion and friendships and gift giving as part of a child, whether they have a wheelchair or they do not use a wheelchair, was really personal to me because I struggled a lot between those lines. I wasn't sure if people were just being nice and inviting me to their party because they were inviting everyone or because of the wheelchair. Being included in birthday parties is such a huge part of a kid's journey and life, and that should never be taken away just because someone has a disability or is in a wheelchair and physically doesn't seem that they can participate, just because societally people are always excluded in those spaces. The cover is so accurate to just disability joy and just inclusion in general that we really wanted kids to just see that aspect of it, which is really rare. You don't see a lot of Black kids in wheelchairs on covers in general. In general, but like in kids' books specifically. And I think that's something to really celebrate, that I'm really excited to show that and to have that and be like, this is what we need to see more of.
I want to expand everything that you said, and especially hone in on Black folks who are disabled. We don't see that, I don't want to say at all, but kind of at all. And I say at all in terms of media, in terms of our TV shows, in terms of kids programming, in terms of books, in terms of the things that we see in the day-to-day, in terms of seeing Black folks in general that are disabled as well. Like there's so many intersectionalities that, you know, our industries fail to show. And I'm excited that, you know, I get to be a part, not a pioneer, but at least play my part in that as well. And just to show that, especially that it doesn't have to be a story about race. It doesn't have to be a story about disability. It's just a story, and the characters are just who they are because they are, and that's literally how everyone lives their life. I've always wanted to give the biggest gift, especially as a kid. I never had a chance to afford to be able to give big gifts. I was, 10 years old. What can I give to my parents and my family who pretty much had whatever they needed? And it was just really nice to be able to kind of to go back in time mentally and personally and figure out like, wow, what kind of gift would I give to someone, to my family or my friends, and just be able to showcase that in my work.
So Melquea, you're just mentioning the joy of giving gifts and wanting to give a great gift. So I guess we can talk about your best experience as someone who has received a gift, the best gift you've ever gotten, as well as the best gift you've ever given personally.
Well, okay, there's two actually. So I love giving experiences. I have an idea for a special somebody in my life, my sister. I want to be able to give her the gift of a cruise. It would be really cool. Don't watch this, sis. Because she deserves it, and I love her so much. But on the smaller scale, I love to give notes, like handwritten notes, be able to just write a little letter to a friend and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. How are you doing? What's going on in your life? here's something that I'm thinking about. And I think that little gift of time and thoughtfulness is so nice. And I don't like being like having the expectation of having to give the gift, because when it happens randomly, I feel like that is the best time to receive a gift, when it just happens randomly. Like, whoa, what is this? A package for me? So I love giving smaller gifts, such as like letters, semi-larger gifts such as like packages, and really big gifts that take a long time, super long time to plan, like experiences.
So I'm very similar with Melquea in terms of just combining different gifts. I love to just make it a gift experience where like you open it and you're like, oh my gosh, there's food, there's clothes, there's like a study kit. That's always really fun for me to put together. But I think the gifts that I love giving the most is something handmade, or just like something really more personal and intimate and just like really special. I remember that my mom really wanted this purse and I was like 7 years old. So I cut out paper and I stapled it and I made a handle and I drew a bird and I was like, I got you the purse you wanted. And since that day, I think she was so excited for it, but I think she was just like excited that I gave that to her. And I remembered, to me, I thought she like accepted the purse that she always wanted, and she now had the purse that she really wanted to buy. And I think from that moment, gift giving started to mean a lot to me. I was like, oh my gosh, a gift can like make someone's day happy. And I think that's why I like gift giving. I love the idea of making someone's day better, because the world is just really hard.
What is the main message you hope both kids and their parents, or any adults in their lives, could take away from reading this book?
What I would love for kids and parents and readers to take away from the story is just understanding how there's different types of gifts and gift giving, and just the idea of inclusion and friendships, and what that means with gift giving. When you have a friend and you really want to give them the biggest gift of all, what do you give them? It's really magical. Gift giving can be magical. And it doesn't always have to do with, it goes beyond like the physical gifts that you give, which I think is really special. And then from a disability inclusive aspect, I just want readers to be not scared or like unsure of inviting someone who may look different from them, or someone they're not sure of, like, oh, well, I don't know if they can go on the grass, so I won't invite them, or like, I don't know if the wheelchair is gonna fit in my house. I hope readers just also enjoy the color and the art and just have fun looking at the book and reading the book and just making all the sounds that are in the book. Just a really overall magical, colorful experience. And we hope this book is a gift to someone who may not feel like they get gifts.
My biggest hope for folks, young folks, little folks, larger folks, to take away from this book is that you are enough. You are the gift. I will not spoil what the gift is that Tasha does in fact give, but the thing that she does give, the gift that she gives, is not actually the physical thing in which that she gives. It's so much more than that. It's not the thing that we give, it's the thought that we're giving to people. It's the message that you are on my mind and I love you and I think you're great and you're doing great. And so my biggest thing that I want folks to take away from this is that you, yes, you are enough.
What is next for both of you? What are the projects you are either starting on, or what can you say about what you're doing next?
I'm gonna rest. I will be planning on my illustration business. Like, I can only rest for so long, but I definitely am going to take some time to just reflect, to rest, to restore my creative juices, but I'm working on creating the manuscript, like the words of my own author illustrator book. It is still in process, but I can visualize the character. Surprisingly, I can visualize the story. The theme is more on the fact of like, you're not too much, and the way that you present yourself is perfect. It's beautiful, and it should be celebrated. You can find me at prettykittypaintings.com, PrettyKittyPaintings.com. Sign up for my email list. That is the best way to get the first notification of whatever I do after I rest. And and thank you again for joining us. This is so exciting, and I'm so excited to give you a colorful explosion in book format.
We have a few projects in the works with Includas Publishing, and just promoting just more disability, diversity, and just pushing that narrative of inclusiveness and just being heard. And also just looking into research of how diversity works, diversity in media, disability representation in kids shows specifically, and just disability in literature impacts and affects readers and children. So that's sort of what's next, is just that research aspect of, we can say we need diversity and we can say like it's important, but I think what's really important right now in this time of like this push for inclusion is the research that shows why it actually matters. So for what's next for me is just those research projects of showing, yes, you know, what children are reading, what children are watching impacts them, and this is why we either need to change it or this is why we need to continue it. You can go to includas.com right here. INCLUDAS to just get all the information about what we do and kind of our focus and the books that we help promote. And follow us on, we have an Instagram at Includas. Our Twitter is the same, so is our Facebook and our TikTok. We're excited to celebrate with you today on our release of the book. And I hope you enjoy the activities and the downloadables and just having a really colorful celebration with us. And thank you so, so much.
It was lovely having both of you and speaking to both of you. And I am so excited for this book to be published. Truly, I've sensed your passion and have sensed it for so long. And so thank you for having me as well.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. You can visit Includas Publishing at includas.com.